Hello and welcome to Zurich Central Station. Tonight I'm trading a regular hotel for something much more exciting, a sleeping car to Zagreb in Croatia. And I'll be showing you all the different accommodations on board as well. A journey through 4 countries, almost 600 kilometers, and the big question: will this be a smooth and comfy ride or a long night of rattling trucks and questionable sleep? Let's find out. Come along! Before hopping on the night train, let's take a moment to appreciate where we're starting. Zurich Hauptbahnhof, or Zurich HB if you're in a hurry, or just don't feel like pronouncing long German words. With roots dating back to 1847, the current building was unveiled in 1871 to a design by architect Jakob Friedrich Weiner. It is today Switzerland's busiest train station and one of the busiest in Europe. It started as a humble railway terminus for a single line, the Swiss Northern Railway, but today it's a massive hub with over 3,000 trains passing through daily. That's a train every, a few seconds? I'll let you do the math. Inside, it's more than just a train station. It's basically a small city. You've got shops, restaurants, and even a supermarket. Need a last-minute souvenir? A snack for the train like myself? A full grocery run? No problem. Zurich HB has you covered. Besides, of course, ticket offices and information desks. Oh, and if this big hall looks fancy, that's because it is. This used to be the main concourse before the station expanded underground. Now it's often used for events, markets, and occasionally massive art installations, including this one hanging from the ceiling. Speaking of underground, the station has multiple levels, and if you're not careful, you might feel like you're in a labyrinth of trains. But don't worry, just follow the signs, or the crowd of commuters who definitely know where they're going. If you're traveling on a long-distance service, don't worry, it will depart from the tracks located at ground level. Alright, history lesson over. Now let's get to the real reason we're here. Tonight's train to Zagreb, now arriving at the station together with the night jet to Graz, ready for its and ours night trip. With my ride for the night already at the station, ready to take me and hopefully my sleep to Zagreb, here comes our SBB Class 420 locomotive, an absolute legend in Swiss rail history. These things have been pulling trains since the 1960s, and tonight, one of the 277 produced gets the honor of holding us until Buchs, at the border with Liechtenstein. Time to hop aboard and find my home for the night. Let's see what this train has in store. Night trains always have this special vibe, narrow corridors, dim lighting, and the quiet anticipation of a long journey ahead. Or maybe that's just me, wondering if I'll get a good night's sleep. And here it is. My cozy little cabin. Looks promising, but will it be comfortable? Will I wake up well rested? Or will I just dramatically stare out the window all night like in a movie? The bed looks and feels comfortable. There's a sink with mirror, a bottle of water, a croissant, orange juice, a couple refreshing tissues, a cabinet, coat hangers and a couple 220-volt power sockets. Not bad. Right on schedule, Because of course this is Switzerland, we're rolling out of Zurich at 8:40 p.m. sharp. And as usual upon departure, today's trip map. Before anything else and while zooming past stations non-stop, snack time. I picked up this little fruit bowl from the station supermarket because unfortunately this train doesn't have a dining car. While gliding through the darkness, let's check out the bathroom. It's clean and it was kept clean throughout the whole trip. And here's our last stop in Switzerland, Buchs. Still in Switzerland, but not for long. The OBB locomotive that we get here goes to the other side of the train and will be heading into Liechtenstein soon, which means I'm about to cross an entire country in about 10 minutes. Blink and you'll miss it. With the locomotive now on the other end of the train, my sleeping car has officially been demoted to the tail end of the consist. The upside, I get a perfect view of our departure from Buchs and our blink and you'll miss it crossing through Liechtenstein. The downside, well, it's night time so there's not much to see. But hey, it still counts. Before long, we roll into Feldkirch, our first stop in Austria, where the locomotive, now an ÖBB Class 1016, makes its grand return to my side of the train. After a 25-minute stop, we roll out of Feldkirch at 10:45 p.m. and officially begin our journey across Austria. As for me, time to head back to my sleeping compartment and get ready for some much-needed rest. Or at least give it a try. Good night. See you in the morning. Good morning from somewhere around the Austria-Slovenia border. Exact location? No idea, but what I do know is that I actually slept really well. Now time to do my ablutions in the private compartment sink, which has both hot and cold water. And just like that, welcome to Slovenia. This is Šentiji, our first station on the Slovenian side. New country, same train, and most importantly, time for some breakfast. A basic night train breakfast. Coffee, a bread roll, jam and butter. Simple but effective. Now let's see if this coffee can wake me up before we roll deeper into Slovenia. Our first stop in this new country is Maribor, Slovenia's second largest city. It's a historic town with a laid-back vibe nestled between rolling hills and the Drava River. Maribor is famous for its wine culture, home to the world's oldest vine, still producing wine after more than 400 years. It's also a winter sports destination thanks to the nearby Pohorje Mountains. But no time for skiing or wine tasting today. This was just a brief stop and, as expected, we're right on schedule. Off we go again, leaving Maribor behind as we continue south through Slovenia. Right after departure, the train crosses the Drava River, one of Slovenia's major waterways. It's a nice view, but trust me, there's even better scenery coming up later in the journey. Time for a little exploration. Let's take a walk through the train and check out the other accommodations on board. Starting right at the front, we've got our trusty Zagreb Taurus locomotive still doing the hard work of hauling us along, courtesy of ÖBB, the Austrian legacy rail operator. Now for the passenger cars, First up we have the second-class compartments, perfect for shorter journeys, but let's be honest, spending an entire night in one of these? That's a challenge. Not impossible, but definitely not the definition of comfort. Moving further, we reach the couchettes. These are the budget-friendly option for overnight travel. You get a proper place to lie down, which is already a win, but if you're sharing with strangers, well, let's just say privacy isn't really part of the package. And of course, there are the sleeping cabins like mine, which I already showed you earlier. Definitely the best way to travel if you want a proper night's rest. One thing you won't find on this train? A restaurant car. Not even a cafeteria. So if you're hungry, I hope you brought snacks. And with this walk around the train, we arrive in Celje, another brief stop on our journey. But don't let its size fool you. Celje is one of Slovenia's oldest cities, dating back to Roman times when it was known as Celje. Later it became a major medieval stronghold under the powerful Counts of Celje, whose castle still overlooks the city today. But Celje isn't just a city with a cool history, it also marks the start of the most scenic part of our trip. From here, we'll be following the stunning Savinja River all the way to Zidani Most, where it flows into the Sava. I'll let you soak in the views for a while, because even on a great day like today, they're impressive. Now just imagine how incredible this journey must be on a bright summer afternoon. After that beautiful ride along the Savinja and Sava rivers, we now arrive at Dobova, the last station in Slovenia and our final stop before reaching Zagreb. And as you can see, the weather has decided to give us a proper farewell, with rain. A very atmospheric touch. Dobova might seem like just a small border town, but it plays a big role in rail travel. Back in the Yugoslav era, this was a major railway hub between Western and Southeastern Europe, so while it looks quiet now, it has quite the history. But the real reason we're stopping for a while here? A locomotive swap. Our trusty OBB Taurus steps aside and in comes the Croatian Railways Class 1142 to take us the rest of the way. This old-school electric loco, manufactured by Concar, has been around since the 1980s and, despite its age, is still a workhorse on Croatian tracks. They are still nowadays the fastest locomotives in the Croatian network. Here's a fun bit of railway trivia about Dobova. This station isn't just a border crossing, it's also where the catenary voltage changes. Slovenia's network runs on 3000-volt direct current, while Croatia, like the rest of the former Yugoslavia, uses 25 kV alternating current. But why the difference? Well, it all goes back to history. When parts of what is now Slovenia were under Italian rule, before World War II, the Italian Railways in 1936 electrified some lines at 3000-volt direct current. Later, when Slovenia expanded its electrified network, it simply continued using the same voltage for well-justified continuity reasons. Meanwhile, the rest of Yugoslavia, which started electrifying much later in time, opted for the then more modern 25 kV alternating current system. That's why the Slovenian division of the Yugoslav Railways always had different locomotives from their counterparts, and trains have always changed locomotives in Dobova. From Dobova to Zagreb, it's just a quick 25-minute hop, so let's talk about something important: the cost of this trip. If you plan ahead and book about a month in advance, during the low season, you can snag a ticket for €289.90. But keep in mind, fares are dynamic, so if you book closer to the travel date or during peak season, you might have to pay more. And where can you get your ticket? The easiest way is through ÖBB's website, which lets you book this train hassle-free. And here we are rolling into Zagreb Central Station at 11:33, right on time. The journey may be over, but I have to say, this was a really enjoyable trip. I had a very good night's sleep, and the rolling quality of the car was excellent. Smooth, comfortable and quiet enough, just what you want on a night train. A restaurant, car or a cafeteria would have been great, but overall, this was a great experience. As we say goodbye to our train, I want to thank you for joining me all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe and share it with your friends. It really helps the channel and allows me to keep making more train videos, always with a mix of history and technology. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next week.